So the whole Sri Lanka team before the '96 World Cup, they all came to Power World, they all trained.
You're watching the Papare, Sri Lanka's #1 sports channel. I'm Khadija Nazahim, and joining me today is Mr. Talavou Alailima, the founder CEO of Power World Gyms. Over the past 30 years, he has built a largest fitness journey in Sri Lanka, and not only built the fitness journey, but he was the pioneer to bring this gym revolution for Sri Lanka. So going forward in this exclusive interview, we are going to see how the word Power World came into place and how the journey began. So as we celebrate 3 decades of Power World, Mr. Alailima, it's a pleasure having you in my show today. So starting off, we all know that you have been a prominent star for 25 years, holding records in discus and putt shot. And what inspired you to get into this fitness journey and to bring this to Sri Lanka? Like, I think Power World is one of the first gyms that takes us back to 1994, where we started.
I think first I should speak about a leading businessman who once said, not long ago, mentioned to me that I am a high-risk entrepreneur.
Okay.
And he said, if not for my belief and trust in God, that I would have got this rugby tackle. It would not be a normal rugby tackle, but a block rugby tackle, and I would stay down. So I think when I look at the 30 years, I'm grateful to God that I have had this 30-year run, because without him, I don't think anything could have happened. And of course, my wife Shahara and my sons Joshua, Jonathan, and Jason were there as my foundation, you know, and through some of the hardest times, you know, during these past 3 decades. But to answer your question, I had a friend in college, and he used to bring beads to Sri Lanka, sorry, beads to America, and used to make some sales in the US,
Okay.
from India.
Right.
And I used to help him do these beads. He knew I was into fitness, he knew I was into gyms, I mean exercise and all that. And one day when I was just putting these beads for him, helping him in his sales, he said, you know, Talavou, shall we do a business together? Mm-hmm. So I said, yeah, sure, tell me.
Right.
And he said, let's build some gyms.
Okay.
I said, yes, let's build gyms. I said, yes, let's build gyms in Sri Lanka and India. He said, no, we'll build gyms in America.
Okay.
So I said, no, every 5 miles there's a gym in America. Let's build something in Sri Lanka. So immediately from that point onwards, I was in the college, around my second year in college in the US. And then I kind of started thinking about this whole thing about a gym, and I remember coining the word power and world together. I was going to a gym close by, and that gym was named Iron World.
Okay.
I didn't like the iron part, I liked the world part. So I decided I will go with maybe Power World, giving power to people and, you know, strengthening people's lives. So I coined it in my college dorm room, putting that name together. I remember sharing it also with the idea about gyms in Sri Lanka with a couple of my Sri Lankan friends who were there in college. And when I said, you know, I'm going to put gyms, they said, how much are you going to charge them? I said, 500 rupees a month. And they said, they laughed. I said, why? 500 rupees a month, nobody will pay. They'll put their tennis shoes on and jog around the grounds. They'll never pay 500 rupees a month. So now 30 years later, we know that there is a vibrant gym industry. Indeed. That is impacting lives across the country. And I'm excited that I was able to pioneer that industry and bring the modern fitness gym design and world-class facilities to the country and introduce it to the athletes and those who are into fitness and exercise.
So as you said, indeed, it was a great risk that you took, I would say.
Definitely.
So, so like you said, this small conversation with your friend that you got into this idea and you came to Sri Lanka, just started it, or how did you fund it? Like you said, you were in your second year of college, and I don't think when I was in my second year of college, I would come back to country and start something that's huge, because gym in Sri Lanka in 1994 must be something very new, like
Yes.
alien kind of thing.
Exactly. So, I mean, I was 23 when I came to Sri Lanka, and I walked into the NDB bank and requested for funding.
Okay.
And this 23-year-old coming asking for funding was, I knew that my chances were very low to ask them to support me, because I was just 23 years old. So what I did was I got my mother's friends to be on my board.
Okay.
So they were all 50-year-olds and senior people, very high ranked. And I think one of them was Dr. Sandaratna, who was later the chairman of NDB Bank. So I got all these very high influential people to be on my board. And then I went to the bank and I said, here's my board. I know I'm 23, but please fund me. So my mom, because she was a government servant, she could only give me 800,000 rupees. And she said, son, that's all I have. And I remember my first gym was 5 million. So with the help of her friends, I got about another million rupees. And it's that starting point is where Powell began.
Right.
And then DFCC Bank got involved, and I really appreciate them, because those banks really stood with me during those very, very early stages of the building of Powell.
Okay. So as you were talking about your first gym, where was it started?
So the first gym was in Pamankada.
Okay.
Yeah, it was at a house. And so I didn't know all the housing rules and property laws and all that. So I remember after starting Power World, just barely a month, maybe 6 weeks, the UDA comes and says, some structure I had done. So what I did was, when I got the space, in my mind, there's the driveway with the parking lot, with the garage. I extended, put a roof, and I made it a big hall, thinking, okay, wonderful, super hall to make into a gym. And I didn't know I had violated all these rules, right? So UDA says, destroy this structure or close the gym in 14 days. We'll give you 14 days to do it. And I'm like, okay, now 23, 24, and I'm like, if I break that room, the free weight area disappears. Yeah. And so I decided to take the UDA to courts and fight a fundamental case kind of battle with them.
That's again another great risk that you took.
Yeah, I had to do it because I was like, Powell just stood up. I had put all my money into it, and all my thoughts to this project. And 6 weeks later, I've been told to shut down, And so I had to go to courts. I was fighting that battle with them. And then about 2 years later, we found another building and decided to stop the fight and then kind of shift the gym out.
Right.
So that's how we kind of, that was a life-threatening point for Powell. It would have never taken off if that day we were shut down.
So also, like when you were introducing gym to Sri Lanka, did you think, did you want to put a culture, like the gym culture, because now there's a lot of gym cultures, back then, did you have an idea? Did you want to put something?
Yes, so Power World, into Power World, there was a culture that I really wanted Power World to have.
Right.
And once when I was in the US, when I went to the US and I went to Venice, the Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, which is like the mecca of bodybuilding. It's like the place, and Arnold and all these top bodybuilders have been there. A lot of legacy, a lot of history. And when I went into that gym, it was an enormous gym. Right. And every machine was packed with people training. It was just full, bumping into each other. All the time people were exercising, and and I walked in and they had treadmills on the pathway, walk pathways, those were full. Okay. Everything was full. I mean, it was absolutely packed, this massive facility, And then I walked out of that gym. I walked down 2 blocks, And I came to this gym called gym called World Gym.
Okay.
It was a franchise of Arnold's. And I walked into that gym, massive gym, beautiful gym, had every brand of gym equipment there, with a swimming pool in the middle, 2 floors or 3 floors, big place, beautiful place, and there were only 3 people in the gym. At that moment, I realized that Powell needs to be the Venice Beach Gold's Gym people, you know, exercising and training. That culture was going to be central to Powell's way of how it offered exercise and fitness. And since then, we have, that's what it has been. We have been 25,000, 30,000 members at different times. And it comes from that culture of genuine exercise. You come to Powell, you work out. I don't give you chairs to sit.
Right.
You know, you have to sit at a machine, you have to work out, because there are really nice places out there that you can go and hang out.
Yes.
I mean, really, like, you know. But if you come to Powell, we want you to work out. We want everybody to work out, and then enjoy something outside if you must.
Right. So, Mr. Alailima, as we were talking about the 25,000 to 30 members that joined Powell and are members of Powell Gym, how do you maintain the discipline? Like, when you started, did you think that you'll have so many members, and did you have a strategy for it?
Yes, I think one of the most important parts of Powell is the discipline.
Right.
We want to make sure that everyone's daughter, their mother, everyone feels safe within Powell. And even though we have thousands of members, that unsafeness doesn't exist. And that's because from the inception of Powell, that is one thing I really pushed hard. And our instructors are very specifically trained on how to handle ladies. Okay. They are not supposed to touch them. They are supposed to, from a distance, give instructions.
Right.
And those are held with absolute strength, and we expect them to follow that. Also, from time to time, we have had instances where, I remember one time in my gym in Kolpiti, I had some embassy military people from one of the embassies were working out at the gym, and they were taking the dumbbells, they were big dumbbells they were using, and they were just dropping it on the ground, and the whole building would vibrate. Yeah. And we were telling everybody, don't drop weights, because we are like on the 3rd floor.
Right.
And these guys didn't care. They were just dropping this 70, 80, 100 pound weights, you know. And I had to personally go there and tell them to stop doing it, and then tell them, if you can't do it, then please leave.
Okay.
And then they left, because you know, they said there's no room there or whatever it is. But it was clear from the beginning that discipline was absolutely essential, because you have this huge amount of guys, testosterone pumping, you know, these guys are aggressive and strong, and you know.
Yes.
So we needed the discipline there. And I remember even when ministers come, when members of parliament come, I say no guns, no bodyguards, keep your bodyguards away, keep your guns in the car, or whatever it is, and come to Powell. And we held that very strictly. And that helped the discipline. And everybody knows if you come to Powell, that is upheld. So that's how we kind of manage the whole culture of Powell, where it's a place where it's safe and everybody's welcome. And it's an inclusive gym concept rather than exclusive. We want the young executive and above to come to the gyms. We want the ladies, we want the parents, all of them to join and enjoy fitness and exercise, right, and really try and get their bodies transformed and their health fixed through the gym.
So as we were talking, you came up with the culture. So again, going back to 1994, this was like way before I was born too. So I'm sure like there wouldn't be a gym culture, like not everyone would go to the gym. And how did you install that mindset? I mean, it was a niche market back then. How did you install that gymming is for everyone, not only for weightlifters, not only for sportsmen, it's for everyone at home?
Yeah, so when I first opened the doors in Powell, I had done this beautiful gym and I was excited, and I really realized, okay, the first time we're bringing world-class gym to Sri Lanka, a big gym. It was about 4,000 plus square foot gym. No one had seen a gym of that size. And I remember when I opened the gym and now we were getting people to come and see it, everybody would come and look at the machines and say, what does this machine do? What does that machine do? And they had never seen it before. And I waited the whole day hoping that, okay, now today there'll be good sales, first day, right? And I'm like, nobody joined. And I was like, okay, did I make a big mistake? Because, you know, the beautiful gym and people didn't join. Second day came and I was all excited, okay, today somebody's going to join. And the whole morning went, nobody joined. People came, they looked, they had never seen this thing before. They don't know what a gym means, you know. And then in the night, at about 8 o'clock in the night that day, one of my friends comes and says, Talavou, I'll buy for my brother and me, and gave me a check. Those are the first 2 members. Like 48 hours later, you know, and I was like, man, you know, I was so happy to get that check, the first one, right? And then, of course, you know, the gym culture really picked up, I mean, and those days that didn't exist. So I had to play the role of showing the community what fitness was, what exercise was. So I was involved in personally training during the time when the gym was peak. You know, so I used to lift. I used to be those days, because I was this shot put discus guy. I used to lift these big weights, and so I would you know, purposely train during the peak hours and lift 1,000 pounds, like, you know, about 400 kilo squats and over 250 bench press kilos, and show everyone, the other guys, that it's possible, that you can actually get there. Because the Sri Lanka record for the bench press then was about 100 kilos. Okay. And there was a block. And so I had to demonstrate and show them that your body can actually become that strong. And I should be personally training individuals, speaking to them about their nutrition program, having one-on-ones with them, and really educating Sri Lanka and really trying to get everybody to exercise. So that's the way that kind of we got people into fitness and exercise, and we were the first ones who were screaming out and saying, exercise, come to a gym, and this is the way you need to do it. And I'm glad that later on, more and more kind of jumped into the whole model, and now we have lots of people screaming exercise.
Yes. So I want to ask a very important question. So back then, there wasn't marketing like here. There wasn't social media. Like, people didn't get anything to their hands. Like, you had to go and give it to them, like saying, we have something, come. So how did you do that? Like, did you have a team, or was it only you who did it?
Yes, so I mean, we had to, so initially when I began Power World, I thought, okay, I was this Sri Lanka record holder. I had so many friends. I'd gone to the you know, particularly large schools. And I thought, okay, you know, they'll all come and join, you know. And then within weeks, I realized, you know, it kind of dried up, people visiting the gym. And I was like, okay, now what do I do next? And I remember an uncle of mine saying, you know, Talavou, you need to advertise, you know. And I was like, really? Why should, you know, how do I do this? So he said, you know, put it in the papers, you know, and tell people that your gym exists. Because I was counting on this circle of friends and this network I had, and I quickly realized that was not enough to run the gyms. So then I kind of looked at how much money I had. I had like 30,000 rupees in the bank or something. I said, let's take the whole 30,000 and put a quarter-page ad or something, and put a quarter-page ad, and suddenly like, wow, you know, I collect 100,000 rupees coming into the gym, you know, and I'm like, okay, then put some more. And you know, for the next 13 years, 3 times a week on the sports page, on Daily News or Island newspaper, back page, you had this Power strip ad. You know, the strip ad, the back page, you turn, it's there at back page. We were there, come to Power World and all that. And we really used the marketing strategy of really using those public newspapers to reach out and educate people and give people a taste of, you know, what they would receive if they would come to us. And that's how we build the numbers. And it made sense to have the second gym and the third gym coming in, and that's how we kind of grew throughout. But I believe that the the important part for us was to take the gym to the member rather than the member coming to the gym because of the distance and all that. So we purposely built the gym network so that we can reach the member rather than the member reaching us. So that was the way we kind of impacted the people and got them to kind of come into Power World and exercise.
Right. So now we come fast forward of 10 decades from where we started. Power World, people know Power World, it's into the school sports culture. You all kept sponsoring a lot of events, and how was that a game changer?
Yeah, so at the heart of Power World is that we want to provide a facility which is a value for money proposition without compromising on quality.
Right.
And we pride ourselves in providing the best equipment in the world, but at an affordable price. So it has a social spin to it. And so we made sure that the gyms are always affordable and accessible to everyone. And therefore we priced it in a way that anyone can come and work out at Power World. So reaching out to the children, reaching out to the schools, encouraging the teams to come and train with us, encouraging the national teams to come and train with us, what was part and parcel of our strategy to become a foundation on which fitness and sports and exercise can flourish. And we build facilities with that in mind.
Yeah.
And the space and the way we designed it lent itself towards that.
Right, and when you said affordable, that comes to my mind is every girl or guy, once they finished school, the first thing that they did was go get a Power World membership, didn't they?
Exactly. That's the culture. I mean, my son, when he finished his O-levels,
yes,
the first thing that all their friends asking, can you give us a membership to Power World?
Yes.
So I can see now every young person wants to exercise and wants to train.
Yes, so it was nice talking. Let's go for a short commercial break and come back. We're back after a short commercial break. We were in conversation with the founder, CEO of the Power World Gyms, Mr. Talavou Alailima. So, Mr. Alailima, so we were talking about schools and how the membership of Power World was a mandate for every student after leaving school. So, how did you all get into sponsoring school events and school teams? Do you have like a story for us to take us through back?
Yeah, so I remember in when I think 95 it was, when Sanajay Surya came to the gym and he was 12th man. Okay. And he used to come to the gym and he used to train, and then we started putting him to do weights and that kind of thing. And after training with in the gym with weights and all that, I think he was selected to go to the Pakistan tour. And he started hitting sixers. And he started changing the game, and he completely did some amazing shots. And then Dev Watmore spoke to me, I remember, and saying, can the Sri Lanka team come and train at Power World? So I said, yeah, sure. So the whole Sri Lanka team, before the 96 World Cup, they all came to Power World, they all trained. So we had Arjuna, Aravinda, and all the whole team came train. Because Sanajay Surya's success, yes, they want to replicate it in the whole team. So they came and trained, and then of course they went to the World Cup. They won the World Cup. Sanajay Surya did a great job there. And then I remember he was interviewed, I think, by Swarnavahini or one of these channels, and they asked him what was the secret of his success. And he mentioned hard work, and then he said fitness, and they said, I went to a place called Power World, and I saw everybody doing weights and things like that. So I also started doing it, and from the moment I started training with weights, I saw that my shots and the game improved tremendously. And he said that the day I give up strength training is the day my cricket will start to decline. So we have been involved in transforming almost all the different national teams, from rugby to even basketball and other sports. We have been involved in impacting the sport through our facilities, and our doors are always open for national teams to come and train, and through at different times, different national teams, different performances have come because of Power's contribution to sport. So we specialize in that area, and we always welcome the schools to come and join and train, and that has been our heart from the beginning, on how to really help sports in Sri Lanka develop, especially because I was, being the Sri Lanka record holder in the shot put and discus for over 25 years. I mean, I've seen that the facilities we had, were nothing. And I remember when I used to go to school, I used to go for some of my training. I used to go in the August holidays. I used to go to my grandmother's estate in Kurunagal, and she had a rubber estate. And so I used to take the axe and go up the hill and cut some rubber trees for the smoke room.
Okay.
So smoke room needs to the rubber. You have to put the rubber and burn the rubber. And every day I have to go to this, and cut it so I can train for my shot put discus for schools. And I remember, putting some, creating some rings and putting concrete and creating circles and using a piece of wood to do my bench press. And, so we had no facilities. And even as a national athlete, we struggled with facilities. And so building world-class gyms to help develop sports was at the core and the foundation of Power. Making it accessible to sportsmen has been our heart for all these 3 decades.
So may I take a moment to say Power World was the real game changer. So as a young leader and now the pioneer leader, what was your biggest challenge being in this industry for 30 years?
So the first 15 years of Power was, of course, the Northern War, the conflict, the unpredictable nature of what happened in Sri Lanka and how it impacted Colombo, and we found our gyms in the middle of that total economic chaos that happened, and we are trying to introduce a new concept to the market. You're trying to tell people exercise. You're trying to build this new concept in the midst of a war with bombs going all over Colombo almost every 2-3 weeks sometimes. Was tough. And so we had very patient bankers who worked with us very closely when they supported us, but it was tough for us from the beginning. And the next 15 years, we had, with the war, with that ending, we had a lot of hope that something good would happen out of the peace that came, but it didn't happen. It didn't take place at the level that we were hoping for. And then, of course, the perfect storm came, which was COVID-19. It came and just really lashed the gyms. It really caused chaos for us because specifically the people were informed, the nation was informed, the gyms were, going to the gym and working out was the highest risk. So trying to survive those times was almost impossible, and it's a very tough time. So it's not been easy, the 30 years, and we have had to kind of work through each of those challenges, not knowing that what tomorrow would really have for us, and how do we really get over that and somehow pull through it.
So as we were talking about health and everything, so you've built a reputation for holistic health services and supporting individuals in all fitness styles. So talk about it, elaborate us.
So Power World, all the gyms are able to provide services to help people overcome all the degenerative diseases. So diabetes in the nation is, I think, around close to 20%. If you look at all the cholesterol and all the other sicknesses, high blood pressure, all that, there's a substantial amount of people who are suffering from that. And the gym is the solution for those problems. And most of the time it's a diet problem, and you need the advice how to bring diet and exercise together You know, some people feel, okay, I just exercise, I'm fine. It's not good enough. You have to have the knowledge on what to do, what are the adjustments you need to make, and combine it with both cardio and some strength training to help the healing process take place. So we specialize, we are competent in all gyms for helping people lose weight, gain muscle, overcome all these sicknesses, rehabilitate, both prophylactic and therapeutic. So we are in the preventive space. We are preventing those people from getting sick. And then we have the therapeutic side of it, where we do a lot of rehab for those who have had stroke and other sicknesses and heart disease and recovering from heart attacks. So we have a lot of those such patients also being trained at Power World. So that is at the heart of all our facilities to be able to provide that service. But whilst we do that, we also super specialize in sports high performance.
Okay.
You know, how to take sportsmen, local sportsmen, and make them world class. You know, how do we transform the body? What is the diet that they need to have, the sports nutrition part of it, and the high performance strength training that is required to transform the body so that our athletes actually are able to compete with the world. And that's something that Power specializes in. That's something that we take a lot of pride in. And being the market leader for the last 30 years, that has been something that we really are excited about, offering those services to Colombo and the nation.
Right. So for the past 30 years, you all have built a vast community, a vast gym community. How do you keep all of them connected, like we are all one?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I mean, it starts from the gym itself. I designed Power World with the intention that there's enough space for people to walk around in the gym, do their workout, have a chat with others, network with others. And I purposely designed larger spaces, large gyms, and gave lots of space for people to be able to move around and have a chat. I remember when we were working with India at one time, and I had the CEO of that network of gyms come to Sri Lanka, and we were at one of my gyms, and I was showing at the peak hour. We were standing and watching the gym function, and then he turned around and told to me, "Talavou, they're talking to each other."
Okay.
I was like, "Really?
Yeah.
In your gyms, they don't talk to each other?" Okay. He said, "No.
Okay.
They just come, work out, and they get out, you know. Nobody's talking to anyone." And I said, that's why the space is important. The space is important so they're not getting into each other's face. And so from the beginning itself, we've designed the gyms to be able to create that culture where networking and the social part of it can take place. I mean, we have lots of people who have met their spouse in Power World. Lots of weddings have happened because they've come to Power World. And so we've had
it's again a game changer.
It's a game changer. So it's a really positive place. And also we've kind of have lots of social events where we bring everyone together. Especially this time during the 30 years, we are having some events where we're bringing all the 25,000 members together and doing some activities. So we will be doing much more in the future, because now we realize that the network is growing substantially, and we need to find ways to network and build the social atmosphere and that environment for each of our members.
So as we were talking about networking and connections, and we have seen articles of you talking about global expansion and strategy plans for that. So can we expect something international from your end?
Well, partnerships and global expansion is not new to us. Right. From 2017 to about 19, Power World was the largest chain of gyms in Bangalore and Delhi. So we've had tremendous exposure in that way to be out there, to be outside Sri Lanka. But moving forward, we are really looking at expansion from a perspective, because Power World is probably the most well organized structured, affordable gym network in the world. And in that space of where it's in the emerging world. And we see a great opportunity in the emerging world, in the developing world, that a chain like ours will always find traction. And we had that experience in India. India, people picked up, just joined Powerworld quickly, and it was very attractive to them. So we have a model, and we are looking at further refining that model, and then taking it to the region this time, maybe to the next 15, 16 countries around us. So we are setting up plans for that, and I think within about a year, we are looking at the potential of such a global expansion taking place, first regionally and then further.
So yes, as we were talking about the branches in India, in Bangalore, we have branches in Sri Lanka. So how do you see that Powerworld is contributing for the economy of Sri Lanka, the fitness economy in Sri Lanka?
So Sri Lanka, I mean, we've played the largest role in attracting as many people as possible into the gym space, into exercise. We have had several hundreds of thousands of members who in the past 30 years have exercised. So we've contributed to the healthcare structure of the country by the preventive side taking place by people exercising, and also in the rehabilitation side, like I said earlier, and really bringing the concept of fitness and exercise and making it affordable and helping people embrace it as a lifestyle rather than a one-off thing, that exercise needs to be part of your life to really benefit from it. And that's the way we have been impacting the country, and we will continue to impact the nation in that way.
Right. So one more question before we go for another break. So we see the technology evolving in the fitness industry, and there are a lot of new gyms with all this, social media hype and everything. So how do you all still maintain the pioneer in the industry?
Yes, so Powerworld prides itself by being the market leader by far. We are the largest chain of gyms. We are 24 gyms today, and by far we are the largest chain of gyms because we've been ahead of the curve. And also we pride ourselves in being the educator of the nation in regards to exercise and fitness, and the trendsetter. So we've understood this industry, we've understood what are the core needs of every member in Sri Lanka and every person, and we've adjusted and kept evolving our gym network. So if someone visited us 10 years ago and now you visit Powerworld, it's completely different to what it was 10 years ago, right? So we've been evolving technology-wise, we've been bringing the latest equipment that's available in the world, and we are connecting the different trends and technology within our spaces. But having said that, as we go along, there will be more gym models that will come up. Once we feel that we are sufficiently large, then we will see some other specialized models also being rolled out.
Nice. As we were talking about the past 30 years, the 3 decades of Powerworld, after a short commercial break, we'll talk about the future of Powerworld.
Catch the excitement real time. Be up to date with it all. Let us capture your milestones. Get it sizzling hot off the turf. Hear the experts break it down. Dig deep into the nitty-gritties. Be inspired by their greatness. Relive all the scintillating action.
We're back after a short commercial break in conversation with the founder CEO of Powerworld. So Mr. Alailima, looking forward to the future, where do you see Powerworld is the role play of Powerworld in the future with all these competitors?
So I think the best thing that happened to us, and we are very excited about it, is that Janashakti has come together and partnered with us. And so that's a very exciting partnership, because that gives us the opportunity to bring our know-how and knowledge in the space of exercise and fitness, and they bring in the structure and the administrational structure and their strength of innovation, of their whole culture kind of comes together, and I think this partnership from now onwards becomes a very strong and an unbeatable mix, because we have got the best of both sides, which I struggled with when I was trying to push it on my own or carry it on my own. And I'm very excited that this partnership will set the stage for the next phase of the quantum leap power will have. And this is where we are now working on technologies that will bring about a service that the members never had before. We are networking and bringing the structures that are needed for that purpose, so that the service levels and the offering that is given to members is of world-class level. And we've also further strengthening the existing services that we are providing to individual members, making it a more personalized service. And so a lot of technology development is taking place on one side. The gym model itself also is being refined, so that there will be a future of a global expansion that will take place from a franchising kind of model in the emerging world. And we are looking at putting all that is needed to bring that about, so that we can exponentially expand in any country we enter into. And so those structures and those designs have been put together. So this phase, this next year, we are looking at, next year or two, we are looking at probably another 25 gyms in Colombo.
Right.
And about another 25 gyms island-wide. We want to provide the service as much as possible to everyone that we can reach by having the gym network strong, but we don't want to have absolute dominance in a sense. We want to have strength and provide the services at the highest level, but we want the other gyms also coming in and supporting the industry. So we want a coexistence that will happen, and we would look at expansion regionally and globally as our priority, probably 12 months down the line.
Right. So I have this question and no better person to ask it from. So how do you envision the future of the fitness landscape in Sri Lanka for the next decade?
So Sri Lanka fitness industry, if you were to kind of frame that, I would first state that if you take the largest gym industry in the world is the US.
Okay.
The US, there is 17% of people who are fee-paying gym members, without taking into account the universities and the high schools that have gyms and all that, but fee-paying gyms, 70% of the population go and exercise. And depending on how developed the country is, those percentages go upwards. Sri Lanka's penetration, on my estimation of the fitness market, is less than 0.5%. So there's a huge amount of expansion that is available. More and more people will come into the gym industry, and there's a lot of opportunity for people to, for the market to expand. And we will see that expansion taking place, and we will be part of that drive to make sure that when Sri Lanka is 1% or 2% or 3% of the nation is exercising, that power will be there, providing that kind of support and structure. So we see a huge potential for the fitness industry. We have not seen what it is really the full potential, and in 10 years it will be a different market, a much larger one.
Right. So as a leader who has made great impact and a leader to look up to in the fitness and health industry in Sri Lanka, what do you have to say for the future entrepreneurs who have this idea of coming up and starting something new in the fitness industry?
So like I said, I mean, because the market is expanding and has so much potential, I would say that if you have the passion, for fitness and exercise, and you can come up with a product that is unique and that which people would really enjoy being part of, I think you should take that challenge. As a young person, I would say go for it. And really, because the market is expanding, there's enough space for everyone. And then if you all join, we can build this into a much stronger, much healthier nation. And we need young entrepreneurs getting excited about fitness and coming together to make this, to really build Sri Lanka as a healthy nation and bring about that consciousness that is important for the quality of life of everyone.
So we've had like a serious conversation like about how your whole 3 decades went. Now let's just relax and just go for quick personal questions, I'll say. So my first question is, how often do you train?
Okay, so I drop my kids in school in the morning, and then I hit the gym 3 times a week. It's going to the gym should be a brain dead decision, so you just go to the gym. You don't negotiate. If you try to negotiate, you probably won't do it. And then 3 times a week, I go to the grounds, and then I do some short put discus, and I do some training there with my events. So I try to train 6 days a week.
Okay, so what's your diet plan like?
My diet plan? Lots of eggs. I love my eggs. At the peak of my training, it used to be 18 eggs a day.
Okay, that's a lot.
Of course, doctors would have had a heart attack on my behalf.
Yeah.
But when I was doing that, I was careful not to tell my members to do that. But because then they will say you must not even have 2 eggs or whatever. But now they have said eggs is not a problem. So I have lots of eggs. I also try my hand on intermittent fasting, which is one of the, I think, the most fantastic dieting structures that have come up as of late to help people in managing their weight. And I found that very exciting. So I would mix it up between fasting, the protein intake being very important in my diet, and of course the basics, red rice, brown bread is a must for everybody.
So fitness apart, training apart, what do you do in your free time?
I love spending time with my children, Joshua, Jonathan, and Jason, and my wife. We have a great time.
Okay.
So we just watch movies and we just enjoy spending time, and that's probably the real treat that I have at the end of the day.
Nice. And last but not least, how happy are you? How proud are you to stay here today, 30 years, 3 decades of the pioneer leader of this fitness industry in Sri Lanka?
I'm humbled by the whole success that it has had. I never really envisaged it in this way, and I'm grateful that this took place, and I'm happy that I've been able to impact so many people's lives in different ways, and so I really look forward to the next 30 years and see Power go to the next phase and be more of a global impacting company and an organization. So I'm excited about the future, and that's how I see it and look forward to it.
Wishing you all luck for it, Mr. Alailima. It was a pleasure having you in my show today. What an exceptional interview was it.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you for having me.
Thank you. You're watching the Papare, Sri Lanka's #1 sports channel. I'm Khadija Nazahim.